If I was to say excitement, that would have to be some sort of understatement. This is not at all my sort of thing. Normally, content-wise, of course it is. But normal price tag-wise, no. And indeed, this sort of collectible figure isn't something that I have in my kind of collection. For obvious reasons, really. Yeah. Kind of excited, and a big thanks, obviously, to WEEGAMERS and to Forbidden Planet Belfast for this one even being in hand. Plastic not off it as yet. There we go. It's one of the A3 or 3A, sorry, 1/6 scale figures. This is from the Apocalypse edition. Let's see it down there on the bottom. 2000 AD, 3A, Apocalypse War, Judge Dredd, product code, etc. Contains longer than Mark 1, Day Stick, and Stub Gun. Hopefully, hopefully, had that a little bit more. Nothing else on it. Now, there's a kind of a dual reason why this one is significant to me. Yes, it's obviously Dredd, and that in itself, reason enough, but it is the Carlos Dredd, of course. Carlos, who sadly is no longer with us. Had the very good fortune at Enniskillen Comic Fest of meeting him once, and that was indeed honour enough. So doubly kind of chuffed that the one and only figure of this type that's probably ever going to be in my collection of one is indeed this one. So let's try and get in here. Let's try and get in here carefully. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I'm very much a toys out of the box kind of person, and usually therefore the box doesn't matter to me. But I think a little bit of respect and deference to this one all the same. So try and get this off. So it's a fairly lightweight kind of box. I mean, it's a cardboard box that's been printed up nicely. It does have this nice sort of sleeve over it. I'll get that off. And the sleeve itself, don't know if you'll see that. There's a little bit of artwork even hidden in there, which seems remarkably weird. I think it's actually the artwork that, is it the artwork at the back of the box? No, it's not. It's just another piece of art. So what does it say in here? It says, "For many millions, the world will end today." So there we go. Almost tempted to see if you could like open that somehow. There is a seam, but it's well glued. Kind of be nice as a poster in itself. And there's a little bit on the Justice Department armory. So I don't think we're going to reveal on this. Lovely bit of artwork there on the back. Dredd with the stub gun. And just, you know, it says it all. Lovely. But there you can see it's just corrugated cardboard. I don't know why I kind of envisage some sort of fancy super box. But no. But that's all wrap around, and it is, at that regard, it's very nice. Let's see if we can get the lid off. And the lid comes off. And this is kind of normally as close as I ever get to these things. It's seeing like a picture online. Something like this. So we have a little flyer here that shows us the various aspects of the miniature. We've got how to change the facial expression, pull the helmet up, and then pull it down, pull it up and push. Okay, we'll have to take a little bit of a look at that. So there's a couple of different facial expressions. The cloak, the rad cloak, so how that can go on. These are the sort of things you'll see them normally wearing on the West Wall, or if they go out into the Cursed Earth. where it attaches to the buckle well, cross under the shoulder armour, cross under the shoulder armour, flip the badge out. Okay, final adjustment. Badge is magnetic to the breast. Cool. And then instruction manual and exchangeable weapons. So the stub gun actually extends out. That's ridiculous. Nice touch. The magazine comes out of the lawgiver. And then we have 3 sets of hands as well. So that's cool. So this is all recessed tray. Everything's sort of pressed down in. Oh, right, we've got a separate face. I was wondering how the face change worked because that image didn't really sort of help us very much. Although everything seems to be sort of pressed down in here. It's actually kind of bigger than I expected. Just going to take that whole section out because I do want to kind of be very careful with this. There's a certain reverence about doing it. And the base tray is just that really soft kind of plastic. Top's fairly rigid even though it's clear. This is kind of, don't know, I did expect something a bit more solid in there, in all honesty, given that this is just the price tag and all that's attached with it, you kind of think. But then, this isn't one of these toys for keeping in the box, this is one for taking out and putting on the shelf, I suppose. So, there is the Poncho. And it's, I don't know if any of you will sort of remember Action Man. It's that kind of feel of fabric for the Action Man coat. We've got little drawstrings and there's a wire running around there. So that's quite rigid. You're going to be able to shape that to display it. And there's a little drawstring which you can pull down and seems to work for the hood too, to draw it in round close. And then we've got these little studs like you'd have got in Action Man clothes for clipping it in round as well. So yeah, okay, that feels nice and it seems to be well built. It doesn't seem to be any mistakes or stitch marks out of place. I'm working my way around. I don't want to lift them out yet. The hands then, so unlike sort of your Action Man with gripping hands, you swap out the hands for this to the different poses. This is one of the gun hands. Very, very firm and rigid feel. Nice subtle paint work there. There's the shade and whatnot and the hint of metal over the knuckles. Just open these all up. So yeah, you'll be able to do a combination of hands. That's 2 gun hands, for instance, if I was using the stub gun, because there's going to be the double grip on that. More of sort of a casual kind of point holding hand, reaching down. But all the sculpt in there on that pose. Very clean and tidy. So these will obviously be sort of matching pairs. And this should be fists. Then I think he's got hands on as well, so that's 4 sets of hands in total. Yeah, sort of clench fist for the stick as well, I guess, because you could do the pose where he's kind of, you know, holding it in front of him. Yeah, okay, those are all nice. The stub gun, and you can see it's got the Justice Department crest on it there. Couple of different greys in plastic. Painted sort of warm but not heavily worn. And that extends out like so. That feels a little bit loose. You can see the wobble there. There's no sort of lock to it. It is just Well, it doesn't fall out, so that's fair enough. Cool, that's cute. The stick, again, it's got the Justice Department symbol on it there. And there's subtly, we've got the band of green, and then this is all black. Mark 1 Lawgiver. That's cute. We've got the red for the targeter there. Oh, that even turns. Oh, that seems an unnecessary touch. And there's the rounds just tucked in there. Oh man. I don't know if that's magnetic or if it's just tight fit. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's certainly snug, but maybe just keep an eye to that. But cute. Very nice. What we got up in here? Got grenades. No, it's the hand joint. Sorry, thought it was stun grenades. So these are actually additional joints for his hands. Okay. They're just plastic, a little screw through the middle of them. And we've got his other face, because there's no head. Never get to see Dredd's full face. Though it doesn't leave much to the imagination when you think about it. There's our grimacing face. Seems kind of weird seeing it outside of the head. And then got another badge. He's got a badge on. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure why we'd have another one. Oh right, okay. No, I do get it. Because if you look here, if you're going to put the poncho on him, they want you to disconnect his badge on his chest, let it hang loose, put on the cloak, pop it around, and then put on the second badge on the outside. Okay. It's probably easier than putting a hole in the poncho to add it that way. It's fair enough. Right. Moment of truth. It's fabric. Man, it's fabric. Right, gonna have to set this off to the side. Oop. A little cover needing protecting his face. Does seem very odd from this angle. There's a peculiarity about his head, the angle that it's at. Does seem a little bit, but once he's up, yeah, once he's up it's grand. There's something just unsettling about this angle. I'm going to bring it in a little closer here if I can. Okay, so there we go. So lying down, I guess there does seem to be kind of a weirdness to him. This is fabric. The elbow pads and knee pads are just on loose and kind of as a result of that quite realistic feeling. The bottom or tops of the gloves are sort of free floating, and the belt is free there as well, which gives nice variation because it's gonna you're gonna be able to pose them for his angles and whatnot too. We've got weathering, dust around the boots here, so it's not just like factory new, and those are articulated. This is soft here, so there's a degree of articulation there. different angles for the feet. You can see little ball joints in there too. Soles are embossed. And we have the holster for the lawgiver. And then, now this is kind of disappointing because as soon as you touch that, the sensation of the plastic is very apparent. Seems to be, yeah, it's elasticated on, so there we go. So he's wearing it, and it's got a sort of tooth thing up at the top to hold it on. And the other side is a pop joint, which is lucky because we just popped it. But you can see there better how that's working, which gives me ideas for the costume. Pop that on again, hopefully. Yeah, we have. And then there's our magnetic badge. And does this zipper work? What is the fascination with zippers on dolls? Yeah, so, yep, we've even got a Dredd chest in there. We're not going to look and see if he's got Dredd pants on. But that does mean you could give him that kind of slightly casual, the zip down a little bit. Belt doesn't seem to have studs or anything, so it's on for the duration. Joints, they feel very smooth. It's almost, you can feel like a click, click, click. Not like a click, but you can feel it going through different positions. You can feel it like almost like a gear. Click, 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 click. I'm making the noise to sort of simulate how many I'm finding rather than the fact that it feels in any way rough. It doesn't. It feels like a very smooth sort of joint. With the fabric on the uniform, that makes for quite realistic sort of feeling the posing because everything's kind of creasing up. Oh, now, that is a click. And this is the clenched fist one, so this is really the Biff people one. That's kind of, yeah, it's registered even on the audio pickup. Let's have a little look at how they say we do this face change thing. So hold the chin and tilt the helmet up. Kind of nervous because this also feels quite plastic. We do have paintwork of sort of light chipping and whatnot across the body of it. It doesn't look like sort of wear or damage. It does look very purposefully applied in places, and then the white sort of chevrons for the comic book reflection. So just going to bring this instruction sheet over here again. So yeah, we've got a pull down, and a pull up. How to change face? Oh, that's kind of weird. It's like a Westworld thing. Now it's a mechanismo. That's kind of eerie. Yeah, don't buy this for your kids. That's right, you can see that the reason that's kind of snug is you've got a T-join and two sockets that this then has to plug into. It's a fairly easy fit after that. There we go. Nearly was able to pull that off. Right, let's have a look at doing a hand swap then, shall we? So, oh, right, okay. It's as easy as that. That literally just came out. Let's get a gun hand, and then we'll need one of these ball sockets. I wonder, is this like a, once you do it, that's it? Okay, that's in. Now, I'm very worried about pulling it on the peg. loath to draw that out. I would say you're going to want to wrap something or like a pair of soft pliers or something to pull that out again if you're going to do multiple hand swaps. That would make me kind of nervous. And then let's get him a lawgiver. You have to kind of work it down in. It is a lot like X-Man and the trigger finger. Oop, don't worry, it wasn't a break, it was the magazine. There we go. So that's the way to do that. And then like so. The eagle having no flexibility in it is kind of odd for when you try to get that kind of a pose. You have to sort of almost nurse it past it and then get the helmet back down. Yeah. That's cute. With no movement here though, you can see that that kind of does look a little bit rigid. You always imagine the comic book with the wings kind of flowed. So even for that to have been sectionalized in some way or other. Sectionalized? Is that even a word? I don't know. Let's make it a word now. This is about our word. Now, yeah, and he stands. Oh, that hand just fell out. It doesn't really lock in, which is kind of disappointing. Now it's got the movement because of that joint, but it just kind of sits there. But it is to try and get that sort of straight up comic book shot. It doesn't really like do it. The eagle kind of sits a little bit unnaturally for that to happen. So you are going to have to think about the pose you go for. And these joints, it's weird. Sometimes it feels like it locks quite rigidly, and then you get a little bit of joint movement. There we go. What we can do is we'll do another batch of pics from sort of the side and whatnot as well, to let you get a look at that. But it's nice, I've got to say. The pros for me outweigh the cons there. In terms of definitely a living embodiment of the comic book, it's right there. I mean, it is right there. Black and white. I wouldn't even complain if this was in black and white. It would be quite awesome in that regard too. Just going to pop that out when we're here. Now it's the wrong hand for a nightstick, but I'm just sort of seeing if I can pop the nightstick in. It's very tight fit. There we go. See, that hand just fell out again. Gotta say, for that kind of price tag, maybe this is where I'm wrong. Maybe this is why I don't buy these kind of things. 99% of the packaging, lovely. These little quirky things, like bits just kind of falling off. I'm kind of surprised at. I would have expected with them to be magnetized or more like screw in or a more solid joint, but there's literally. I mean, there we go. There's the glove bit off. Now let's just see if I'm missing something here, because I'm not. No, I'm not missing a trick. I thought maybe there was something I wasn't doing right, that it wasn't pushed in hard enough or something, but it seems to be. Yeah, there's no sort of click point or anything like that there for it to to have to go in any better. That's the wrong hand for that, but just wanted to sort of get a rough idea. You know, with a nightstick, right, punk. You get the idea. Because you'll be able to do it with the two gripping hands that are for that. These ball joints only having the two, and that being so. No, there we go. We've got that one out. So let's get a nightstick hand. That's the wrong hand, aren't I? Day stick. I keep calling nightstick, and that's naughty. Sorry, not that kind of stick at all. Move on, family show. Not really. That's why we don't take the box for family show. Now that hand goes in an awful lot better. And then again, we've got that tight squeeze. Actually, I think if I go that way, aha, the slow blade past the shield. No, that is one snug fit. I don't think you're going to like rub paint off or anything, but somebody's determined to get me. My phone won't stop. But that is remarkably. There we go. His hand might fall off, but his day stick ain't gonna drop. Okay, pro. You could always do that one. You always had one where you point at people with a stick as well. Yeah, I mean, you're not. This ain't an Action Man doll, okay? And whilst it's an action figure, everybody and their aunt knows that this wasn't bought to play with. Okay, so things being a little bit firmer, a little bit loose, one really can't sort of get too annoyed about. Or maybe you can. I don't know. This is the first for me. Should I be annoyed about that? You people who collect these sort of things can tell me whether, you know, no, you're being unreasonable and you've already handled it far too much. Put it back in its box and leave it alone now. Fair enough. I'm prepared to be tutored in these things. I don't know. And then obviously we've got this stub gun. I'm wondering, does the stub gun have to go in those really, really loose hands? Oh no, those are the really loose hands. They ain't looser. The stub gun hands are basically, or no, these hands are basically kind of, I'm not really doing it. I'm neither angry or cross. It is, these ones are going to be for shooting irons. Now that hand gets onto there quite alright. And that one, yeah, there we go. Now it's going to be a little bit trickier to get the trigger finger up. There we go. So that's kind of going to go like that. So yeah, the bits and pieces like that all seem to fit very well. I could come a complete farce myself and try and get the Poncho on, but I'm not good at it. I don't think I would be displaying it with it. I think, and I kind of get the impression that the Poncho and probably the Stub Gun are the additions to this version. Neither of which I'd be too upset if they weren't there. Stub Gun's nice, don't get me wrong, it's kind of iconic from that. But I mean, this is probably going to go onto display with the stick and maybe the lawgiver out, you know, ready for some serious action. There was something sticky there. Maybe it came from the table. No, it's not. There's something has come away from under the belt. We have some sort of rubber thing here, and there's like a gum, and the gum has come away, and that's really icky. Presumably it's to stop the belt falling down, but that's really not very pleasant. going to bring this in. This here, there's this, which has just appeared out of nowhere. Presumably it was glued onto the belt, or it was there at some point, because it certainly was free flowing earlier. But then it kind of came away from the belt, and it stayed stuck to his uniform, and it left a residue. That's a little bit annoying, because there's no way that I can see to get that belt off to fix that. It doesn't seem to have a stud or anything. You can see it quite clearly there where it's protruded down. So I can sort of manually slide it back up if we cope with the ick. But now it's kind of come away loose at the back end. So yeah, you can watch for that. Somebody again, and there's the residue. You can see the sheen quite clearly there. Going to need a baby wipe for that or something. That's a lot better. Yous are the fan boys and girls. You can tell me if what I'm sort of seeing here is normal or whatever. Comment below. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just don't fiddle about with the belt. I'm open to learning these things. Detail wise, I forgot to say in the belt buckle here, spot on. That's just money wise. Yeah, so I suppose it's some sort of semblance of an opinion here. It is really, really nice. Quite pleased to have it. Little bits of disappointment. Little tiny bits of disappointment. There's a couple of very plasticky aspects that you kind of think for that tag, really? Shouldn't this be a little bit better finished? That experience with whatever the gummy, sticky thingy is there, not exactly heartwarming. But overall, otherwise, it's a complete win. And I think the win factor of it outweighs that so far. As long as it doesn't cause any detriment to the tunic or something, we're just definitely going to have to make sure that's properly cleaned off and off my hands. At least it doesn't smell bad. But there we go. That's it. Out of 10, I suppose is that the safest thing? I'm gonna say 8. Okay, I'm gonna say 8. Value for money? It's hard to call. I think it's over what it should be. I think if we all were honest, it's over what it should be. Probably by about 50% ish. But that seems to be what these kind of things are for whatever reason. The fans always find them for that, so fair enough. Fair play to you for keeping the business going in that regards. Yeah. It's 8 out of 10, which I think as long as you're over 5, you're still kind of on the positivity wagon. So it'll be nice to sort of finalise. I think this is going to be one for finalising a pose, getting into it, maybe getting a few photographs in between times, a couple of little, out in the garden kind of things. And then, yeah, job done. We're happy. Let's leave them alone now on the shelf until, we're dead and buried and our kids can sell it and go to university. Let us know your experience with these kinds of figures and collectibles. This is not something we normally dive into. We have one guy at the club who would be one of the sort of statue figurine collectors. We're going to be looking at some of Bob's collection over a couple of videos as well. But otherwise, this is sort of new ground for us. A few action figures here and there, which we're quite happy to bounce off the wall and play with because they're just toys. This is, of course, just a toy as well, but it's obviously a very fancy kind of toy, and it's a one-off kind of thing. You'll do this once in the real world and never, ever, ever again. My experience with it, yes, this if I'm going to have the one, this is the one I would have. Would I race out and get another one? I don't honestly think I would. I don't think I would, unless it was possibly Snake Plissken. But let us know your own experience. Leave some comments below, and if you've got ideas or pictures to share of ones that you've encountered, do that. Fire them on an email or something like that there. We'd love to see and hear from you. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again soon. Bye-bye.